All right. That lady with the silly little British accent just told me that the recording was in process. So we're going to get started. Uh, First of all, my name is Prentice Wiley. I'm an international wealth strategist. The contents of this meeting tonight is not meant to be considered as financial or tax advice. For financial advice, I advise you to see that at financial advisor, and the same holds true for any tax. Reach out and talk to your tax specialist about that. I am a wealth strategist. I teach securing your wealth with physical assets such as gold, silver, platinum, palladium, or real estate. And those things we will discuss. All right. So thank you, everyone, and welcome to tonight's training. Uh, I am going to do a little bit of a monologue tonight, and then we're going to jump right into something I want to share with people. We're going to have two topics of discussion tonight. One of those topics is going to be the Ponzi scheme. And trust me, there are Ponzi schemes out there all over this place. The space of gold and silver, has been wrought with Ponzi schemes for over 8 decades. For 80 years, there are scam artists, Ponzi schemes out there, the way that they twist and bend words and omit facts and take advantage of the public. So it's a very dangerous ground. That's why I highly recommend watching 7K University over and over again, doing what you're doing now, making yourself a student of this space, learning the ins and outs of how it works and the truth about it, because they will not lie, but they will omit facts. And to me, that is a lie. But to them, and legally, is not. It's buyer beware, correct? For example, you'll hear stockbrokers or investment specialists say the market price today for silver is $71.80. Well, that's not the whole truth. If you look at the ticker in front of it, Greg, what does it say? What's those two words?
I think it says something ask.
Yeah, silver ask, not silver is IS. It's ask. That means the broker's asking the mine to sell it for that price. Do they ever get it? Nope. Have they ever got it? Nope. Just don't happen, right? The difference between the ask and the purchase price is called the spread, and that's the very first premium that's placed on silver. Gold reacts the same way to the market. So they're exactly the same. Now, as we dig deeper into it, we will find the differences between gold and silver. We'll learn about the ratios between gold and silver, how that it fluctuates with time and demand, and what historical events can actually affect that. Things that is affecting it right now is something that is unprecedented, that it never has happened in over 6,000 years of human history. We have never had something happen with gold and silver that has happened since the 1989 and on. In 1989, we discovered that silver was the lowest propagator of electricity in the world, and that we could actually put extremely low voltage over that, so that we could design things like microchips and processors. And it became industrial at that point. And now over 54% of the use of silver is industrial or medical. So we're consuming it faster than it can be mined because we've run out of pure veins of silver. And it's and anytime you know that the supply and demand chain fluctuates to where the demand is outrunning the supply, the value of the product is going to go up. And that's what's happening to us now. Now, could we ever get to a point in history to where that is not true? Yes. But we will have to stop having modern conveniences that we have today and go back to pre 1989 living. We'll have to go back to copper wires and telephones, no cell phones, no computers, no AI, no solar cell, uh, not even lithium batteries, just because lithium is actually mixed with the silver. So just the old NiCad batteries that don't last any time. I mean, we would actually go back to that. LED lights, like in this room right now, those wouldn't exist without silver. They use silver in those things. It's so many things we use silver on today. So will we go back? I can't see it in the foreseeable future. Not within my lifetime. Now, some of these guys are just being born, maybe in their lifetime, something may happen that'll put us back 75 or 100 years in time, in technology. But I don't see it in the foreseeable future. So that's where my thoughts on that. Now, let's go straight into our lesson, and we're going to talk about, let's first talk about the Ponzi schemes. I've got some stuff. I'm going to do a screen share, and I did some little sketches, and we're going to talk about the way that gold and silver is manipulated by the market. And then we're going to talk about the way that it's manipulated by the people that buy and sell gold and silver from us, John Q. Public. If you're buying from these people or if you're trying to sell to these people, either acquiring the physical asset or liquidating it. Many of y'all may have watched Professor Toto when he had the Donald Trump's golden lever one and golden lever two. And one of the things he said that was just dead on truth. I mean, it absolutely no variance from what he says is that it's not what you buy in at as to where you lose the money. It's where you sell at. So that also backs up the phrase that the best time to buy gold or silver was yesterday, the second best time is today. So in other words, it really doesn't matter what the market price is now. There's no bad time to buy, okay? Because we're gaining physical assets. We're gaining something that will never ever lose its value. And I always reiterate this is, and especially since I am who I am, and I make no apologies for that. I am a God believing, faith, Bible toting Christian. And I believe that gold and silver has its value by divine providence, that when God said in Isaiah 55:11, that no word that proceeded out of his mouth would return to him void, but it would continue in the purpose that he had set it forth for. So in other words, if he spoke it, it exists, and he gave it a purpose, it will complete that purpose. And it'll never come back to him void. And the word of God never lies. So with that said, I always bring people to what gold and silver actually is. They are elements. They're on the periodic table. If you can look up gold, you'll find out that its symbol is AU and that its atomic number is 67. It's an element. And the elements came into existence when God spoke them into existence on the first 6 days of creation. And he continued on in the book of Genesis to state their purpose, what they were, where he placed it. It talks about him placing it in the river Pishon in the Garden of Eden, and talks about its purity, its divine ordinance, about it being blessed. So all of these things came from the mouth of God, so they can't ever change. They cannot lie. So that's why it has never, in over 6,000 years of recorded human history, never lost its value, never went to zero. Now, the dollar bill has fluctuated up and down, and it would take more or less of those dollar bills to buy the gold and silver. But despite the lie that's told to you by humans, it's the other way round. The gold and silver stayed the same. The value of the dollar went up and down. So when the value of the dollar goes down, it takes more of them to buy the same amount of gold. As the value of the dollar goes up, it takes less of them to buy you the same amount of gold. So they're telling you that the gold and silver is the one moving, when in fact they're lying, and it's the currency that is moving. A lot of times I'll explain it to ladies by giving the example of a bar of soap on the side of a bathtub. As the water rises, the bar stays in the same place. You pull the plug, the bar stays in the same place, but the water rises and falls. Okay, so that's the easy way to understand the ratio between currency and gold and silver. Now, currency for over 333 years has been around. It was created by man. Banks at the same time. They came into existence pretty soon, one after the other. Matter of fact, before currency, the banks came into play first, and then the banks would be print what they call banknotes or scripts. And then the federal government, when they got incorporated, they jumped into that game. Okay. And that in itself, too, is a Ponzi scheme. Now, I'm going to pull up something. Let me do my screen share here. And if everybody on the call can give me a little thumbs up or somebody say something when they can see the screen.
Yeah.
All righty, fantastic. All right. So I did this in a hurry in the middle of making my 6 o'clock call. So I was over here scratching and signing people up at the same time. So I can multitask. It's difficult, and the older I get, the harder it is, but I still can multitask a little bit. Now, I sent it to myself in the form of my Facebook Messenger. Let's see if I can make this a little bit larger so y'all can see it for those of you that may be on their phone. Oh, that's not it. Wrong way, Prentice. I think that's as large as it's going to get. It froze. Trying to make it do too much. All right, so let's just talk about it. Maybe I can get it to unfreeze here in a minute. There it is. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. I'm not gonna touch it. Oh, it bounced back. I apologize. All right. So there you see some numbers. This blue line right here represents time, and we're going to say that this is a 6 month period from left to right. That is 6 months. Everybody see that? We're going to say that right now, $70 is spot price. And the purchase price is $80. Now, this is what is called the typical FDIC managed system. These are people like Money Metals. These are people like Goldco. These are people like Patriot Gold, Noble Gold, Rosalind Gold. That's the system these people use. Okay. Now, today you would purchase that at $80. That's a $10 spread between spot and the actual street price of a Silver Eagle, around $8 to $10. Okay. Now there comes a point in time as this 70 proceeding along that 6 month period, it may be 2 months in, it may be 3 months in, it may be 5 months in, will reach the point of 80. That is what you bought in at. And it will continue to climb up. And at the end of that 6 month period, it will now be at $90 spot. So you've actually made $10 above what you paid for it at that point, even if it's bought back at spot. But if you buy new silver at this point, 8 months later, using this same algorithm here of $10 above. Now spot is 90. You will be paying $100 for that coin. Now, let's talk about this point in time. Now we're at $90. The retail on it is 100. That's what you're buying. And you have a $10 spread over what you paid between that and current spot. All of these companies that I mentioned earlier are going to buy back at spot or slightly below, 2 to 3% below. Then after they buy it back, you're going to have to, out of that, say, for example, they're going to buy it back at $89 or $88. From that, they're going to deduct a brokerage fee. Then they're going to send you a thing called a 1099-B. That's on your capital gains, and it won't be from the 80 to 90. It'll be from the 70 to the 90. It'll be on a 20-point spread, not a 10. Is that a good way to buy gold and silver or liquidate it? No. Making sense to everybody? Okay, everybody's following me. All right, now let's go to the next one. Now, this one I call spot POE, and they'll have it written there. When you sign a contract with them, you think you're buying back a spot, but out beside it or over there on the symbol sign, there'll be a thing that says POE. This is a hardcore Ponzi scheme. So here's how that works. Same chart, same credentials. $70, you're buying it at 80. At one point in that timeline, it rises to $80 at spot. It continues on to $90 at spot. Now at $90 spot, if you decide to buy some, it's going to cost you $100. But you decide you're going to liquidate some of that. Do you know what they will buy it back at? Not at $88 or $89. They're going to buy it back at 70 POE, point of entry. That's what you bought in at. That is a big Ponzi scheme. If you know friends, tell them, look for those letters, POE, if they're dealing with a company that's going to do a buyback. Now, here is the rhetoric that they will throw you if you ask them about that. Well, there's no guarantee that it's going to go to 90 or to 80. It may drop to 60. But at least you've never lost anything at 70. We'll buy it back at that. That sounds reasonable, don't it? Unless you know what's going on. That is a Ponzi scheme. My friends, this is what you have right here. Today is 70. You buy it for 80. At the same point in time, it would have reached the 80. Today, it isn't 90 spot. You would be buying it at 100 if you bought it today. But 7K Metals is going to buy it at 90 plus 8 to 12%. And if you look here, it's never reported to the federal government and you never receive a 1099-B. The only person that knew that you had these capital gains right here is you. Now, if you have a major attack of conscience and you want to say, thieves up there in Washington, D.C., you deserve some of my money, so I'm going to tell you about it. Just go right ahead. It's not against the law. You can tell them. And you pay your taxes on it. I am not unassayed when it comes to that, right? I don't think they should be there over 4 to 8 years, maybe 12 max. Our founding fathers never intended for those people in DC to go to college, get a degree in political science, and have a lifetime get rich quick scheme to where within 5 years they're worth millions of dollars, making only $140,000, $150,000 a year. That was not the intention of our forefathers when they founded this government. It has gotten out of control. But I'll get off of that soapbox for a moment. All righty. So that is my monologue on what I wanted to talk to y'all about. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Then we're just going to break this thing open. We've got about 38 more minutes that we can ask questions and learn some more stuff. Okay. Stop the share. And I will stop the recording. And for those that are just watching this on the recording, should have been here, you'll get to hear all the questions at the end. Good afternoon.